two strings and everything else. Way too loud and out of tune and everything else. But I worked at it. By the time I was about 27 or 8 or something, I finally was able to make it into a band and began playing around and stuff. And of course, I got caught up in all the things that go with that, you know, without going into detail. Called the sins of the flesh. That's what it's called. And through that, I ended up in alcohol rehab, a place called Sunrise Center. That's where I met Nancy and Roy. And I got to give a thanks to Roy. I know he's hearing this. I know he's hearing this. If it wasn't for him, I don't know that I'd still be doing this. He helped me to have the confidence to get back into it. I didn't play music for about 10 years. I think the Lord didn't want me to. He wanted me to learn His Word, and that's what I did for quite a while. Put the music aside. I was in a little bit of a quandary about music, because if some of you don't know, Satan is very musically talented, very powerful in music, and he can lead you astray with secular music that is not praising the Lord. And I found myself in a band serving Satan. There was a point where in my life, my wife and I were trying to go to church. We were trying to get right. I just wasn't hearing it. I was feeling the pull, but I wasn't surrendering. You know, at one point I told her, well, she had gotten saved, and I told her, well, I've got a better relationship with Jesus than you do. I prayed every day for 7 years. Well, yeah, I was praying daily, but I was, you know, serving Satan. You know, so it meant nothing. I was not saved. Found myself in Hale, Missouri. And we didn't normally do this song, but since we were in Hale, we played AC/DC's Highway to Hell. Of course, we were saying Highway to Hale. Well, if you listen to the words of that song, and I hope none of you do, actually, because it is definitely Satan's music. The name is indicative of that. There's words in there that say, hey, Satan, paid my dues, playing in a rockin' band. That kind of got me when I sang that, because we didn't, you know, I knew the song. I'd listened to it all the way growing up, but I heard it for the first time. Paid my dues, playing in a rockin' band. Hey, mama, look at me. I'm on my way to the promised land. I'm on the highway to hell. I mean, how much more blatant could that be? And I will guarantee that that album still sells today. The kids are still listening to that today. Long story short, it really affected me. I don't know if it was the next weekend. It's tough. I don't know if it's the next weekend or what, but I determined I'm going to church with my wife. I've got to get out of this. And I made that determination. That day that I determined to go, I felt so sick to my stomach and had such a pounding headache, I could not go. And I know to this day that that was Satan, because he knew if I went, he was done with me. And so I did not go that day. Still affected greatly. I've even been convicted by the Catholic church bells uptown. I would walk out of my house with all my stuff and hear those bells ring. And it was just like God pointing His fingers straight at me and said, what are you doing? But anyway, so that was October 97 when we were at Hale in November 9th. On November 9th, 1997, I got saved. Now the first time I went, it would have been, I guess, November 2nd, the Sunday before. Everything that preacher said was directed straight at me. I don't know if you guys, some of you I know Pastor Clapp. He has a forceful way of preaching, and it was like throwing daggers into my heart. Everything he said was like, you know, I actually at one point looked at my wife and thought, what have you told him? You have told him everything. And she assures me she never told me anything, you know, just to pray for me. And the power of God's prayer was working. And the hound of heaven was on me. And I couldn't go forward. During the invitation, I thought, man, I'm going to cry. It was just tearing me up. And I went like that, and I'd already been crying. So my pride said, oh, I'm not going to go over there if I seem to cry, you know. So the next weekend, I went forward, I got saved. And since then, God has put a new song in my heart.
Amen.
I'm now serving God.
Yes,
I
amen.
was serving Satan. You know, I was lost, but now I'm found. You know,
Amen.
it was an awesome experience, and I would encourage each of you to take a look at what kind of music you're listening. I'm going to go look at anybody because I don't want to convict anyone, but I don't want to single anyone out. But take a look at the music you're listening to. Is it serving God? Is it serving Satan? Is it glorifying God? If your music is not glorifying God, then who is it glorifying?